Yo, day 26, and day 26 where I speak in front of the camera, and it is all about how I am developing the relationship with this camera, with the audience, and my journey along the way. That's pretty much been the theme of this challenge, and the reason for doing this challenge was to become better at being in front of the camera, become more skilled at articulating my thoughts whilst I am being recorded. Because when we're being recorded, there's things that we say that are on record, right? So the idea is to be as much me as possible, and whatever's coming out to be real, and to simply allow it to be there. To note when I'm coming up with resistances, where there's things where I'm like holding back on saying certain things or saying things in a certain way. And yeah, noting any differences that occur in my body. If there's fears that come up or anything like that, which it hasn't really been that much for the last handful of videos. I haven't really encountered much resistance. It's been pretty smooth. In the beginning, there was quite a lot. And yeah, I'm noticing just the level of comfort that I'm experiencing with being in front of the camera. And on that note, it just feels like a normal blog thing now. It feels kind of pretty standard. Like there's no real resistance. No. The only thing that I would say this morning is that I'm a bit tired, and I've been doing a lot of processing work on my deep shadows, things that, like my core wounds, and all of these things that are really scary to look at. They're really fucking scary to look at. And yeah, I've been at this 6-day event working with a guy named Cody McAuliffe, and he takes you through this reconciliation process where you reconcile your past and who you've been in the past, certain traits and things that have occurred in the past with other people, with your relationships with other people, and see those situations ultimately as perfect, whole, and complete. This can be challenging at times. It is really challenging. It's around being able to really see that person. Because what happens is we project all these labels on people, and we think we know people. We think we know everything about someone, and we project all these ideals at them, and they should be this way, they shouldn't have been this way. What they did was bad, what they did was good. Any of these labels that we can put on them, we pedestal them, we put them down in the pit. And ultimately, it's just us not seeing them. It doesn't mean we have to, this is the thing, after the process, it doesn't mean we have to actually, let's say, even talk to that person afterwards. The main thing is that whatever lessons are to be learned from that experience that we've had with that person, that we actually receive them. And the reconciliation process is gathering all of that. And yeah, man, so many tears, a lot of tears, a lot of screaming. I had a big, it felt like a big journey into the underworld, where I was accepting parts of myself that I didn't want to accept. Parts of myself that were part of my nature that I was rejecting. And fuck, yeah, it's big. And so, yes, I'm feeling a little bit worn out from that. Also, the world looks very different today. The world looks like people's faces look different. I feel different. I look different. And the whole concept of doing this reconciliation process is that it's not an identity shift or a belief shift or perception shift. It's an actual paradigm shift. Like your entire paradigm is different. And we've done this process 4 times over the last few days. And it's, yeah, I feel like a completely different person. It's more of myself. Like, it feels more comfortable in my own skin. And so, yeah, that's been fun. And so I'm going to be doing the facilitator training for that as well, and learning how to do that, because this whole process has just changed my life. It's been a whole journey over the last 6 months since I started doing this work. And yeah, we'll be continuing more of it, especially with my voice coaching work, with my workshops. So I hold voice workshops where we essentially teach people about the voice and about communication, about the energetics, the physicality, how to create a voice that's felt and not just heard. And this is to help people like yourselves, like if you're looking to create an impact of sorts, to be able to put a voice to it, to be able to really resonate with people. Because, I mean, we can talk all day and it can be completely empty. And until we actually feel what's going on, it's not going to make a difference. That's just, yeah, the rawness of it. You realize the people that get really passionate about things, that are really, really embodied in what they talk about, they're the ones that make a difference. The ones that hide in the background and try and like half-ass it, kind of put their toes in, doesn't really work. Your voice requires your whole body. And so, yeah, all this work will be coming to that. I'll be coming to my one-on-one coaching containers as well. And yeah, really excited to see what comes up in the future. Because there's something that I realized where I've been playing really small and not accepting the fact that I can be really ruthless at times. That there's a lot of traits about myself that, like shadow traits, that I've been rejecting. I've been turning them away and saying that it's not okay to feel them. It's not okay to be X, Y, Z. Imagine spending your entire life rejecting your true nature. That's what most people are doing. Likely you're doing it as well. It's very normal. It's not a it's not a thing to be down about, or to, let's say, it's something to look at. It's something to explore within yourself. Look at those shadows. Look at the things that, and this is what we went through last night, was the core wound. The core wound being the thing that drives us, yet it's the one thing that we can often perceive we don't have enough of. It runs through everything that we do, every single thing. And this core wound is, we just attract it. We attract people around us through this core wound. And the thread is so, so profound. It's everywhere. And this whole, seeing this, I don't know if I can unsee it. This core wound is, like, everyone has one. It's a thing that they're most wanting. It's a thing you do every day. There'll be something that you do every day, in every interaction, in every circumstance. That is your core wound. And you're attracting people through this core wound, which is not a bad thing. It's simply people that resonate with you. They resonate with who you are and they get your story. They see themselves in you because of that core wound. And so something that I learned yesterday, or something that I took away, was when we can own and go to the depths of our core wounds and really face them, people are going to look to us to, let's say, have the answers, because they see the level of depth that we've gone into to face these core wounds and deepen in the relationship with them. So they don't go away, they're going to be there forever. It's also your greatest gift. And so mine was connection. And without going into all the depth, it's the reason I'm doing this work. It's the reason I'm doing this thing in front of the camera. A thread that's run throughout my entire life was a wound around connection. And so this is coming into the voice, coming into speaking up and having a voice that's felt. Like there's just so many gifts that have come from this. In fact, all of the gifts have come from this. All of the main gifts. And yeah, it's really time to claim that and claim what it is that is my gift. My gift to the world. Yeah, and so I don't even know what to talk about today. That's a good one. It's the first time that one's come up. Have you guys done any shadow work? Have you actually, have you delved into that sort of work? Wondered what it is? Have you heard anyone talking about it? Love to know in the comments. It's something that I hadn't really thought about over the years. I hadn't really wanted to face it, to be honest. The whole concept of it seemed terrifying because it was like I'd been down to some depths in my late 20s, facing some darkness within myself, which brought me into this work. And what was the tendency when I started doing the work was to be love and light. Especially on this spiritual path, we start trying to be love and light. And if we're trying to be love and light, perhaps at the sacrifice of darkness, then we become the thing that we become controlled by it. We become controlled by the dark or the shadow that we're not facing. And the light is a virtue. It's also nothing without the darkness. And so when we reject those things, we become a shell. We become this fake character. Let's say we can pretend to be happy. We can say that everyone must be happy because that is the most light and loving version of things. Not even close. Because if you're not feeling those things, if you're not truly in those things, it's not real. If you haven't ventured into the depths and really faced those depths, the light that you bring out is not going to be as bright. It's not going to be trusted, not quite in the same level. And so the amount of light that you can shine is only ever equal to the amount of darkness that you are willing to face. law of balance. And so if you've been denying all the darkness, all the dark sides of yourself your entire life and shunning them, calling them bad, if you had depression and you have vilified that depression, maybe you've got over an illness, maybe you are simply not claiming your gifts from a relationship that occurred. Something that drove you absolutely fucking mad. When you claim those gifts, then you will end up being more of you. Because that's ultimately what's happening. People are reflecting ourselves. People are reflecting us back to ourselves and showing us things about ourselves that we're not claiming. And then we reject the other person, not realizing we're also rejecting them and ourselves. And then we leave it and we point blame at the other person. Or we blame ourselves. That's a fun one as well, because it's basically the same thing. If you're in a relationship and you break up and you go, this is what I was doing, instead of saying, well, it was their fault, I was like, well, it's my fault. Great. So then I become the victim. No, I become the perpetrator in that circumstance, looking to flip the script. And that doesn't really help anyone, because the main thing is about taking those gifts and unwrapping them from the relationship. Then we'll actually feel at peace with it. We'll feel at peace with what had gone on and see that person as the biggest gift for us in our lives. That they were completely aligned to us. And they were perfect. They were the perfect thing to teach us the lesson, to give us the gift. Because if that person didn't come along, we wouldn't have learnt the gift. However, all of these gifts sit there unwrapped. We project hate and everything at the other person, or project it at us, at ourselves, or simply stay neutral on the matter. Sometimes there's times for neutrality, and sometimes it doesn't really help, because it means that we haven't felt it. We haven't felt what's actually going on. We haven't felt the grief, haven't felt the acceptance, haven't felt the love, ultimately. The true love. And this isn't the case for everyone. In most cases, though. And so, that one has definitely been in charge of my life for a long time. Not being able to see what people are looking to teach me. And so, this brings us to now. We've got things that we can claim about ourselves. Things that I'll be claiming within myself without listing them right now. There'll be a difference in the vibe, in the way that I turn up in this world, and I'm going to let that speak for itself. I realize one thing as well, when I do processes and any plant medicine journeys or anything like that, the tendency is to want to talk and talk and talk about it, and to talk about all of the processes, all the individual stuff, and for the most part, I'll probably just save that for the room. All the details, at least. And I was like, this is why we do this stuff. So that we can show up in the world in a better way, in a stronger way, in a more empowered, embodied way that is ourselves. And really, my true nature doesn't have the need to seek validation. My true nature validates itself. This is a really weird concept to come to terms with. And so, actually I will share this one bit. Nope, it's gone. Yeah. This is really weird turning up to camera with, yeah, I'm very tired and that. So time for me to switch it on, right? Time to be a YouTube guy, YouTube person. I'm really curious, actually. I'm curious as to what I will be doing in a 10-minute video. It's a 10-minute video, like it's been 20 minutes now, and I probably could have fit in what I spoke about in, yeah, probably 10 minutes. I probably could have summarized it all and had a nice quick share. 10, 15 minutes would have been great. Because I find that the tendency is to I tend to slow down with the longer video. I tend to not really, because I'm articulating thoughts, it just gives me lots of time, because it's like a journal. It's a journal blog entry. I guess they probably don't usually go for this long. So yeah, if you've made it this far, great. Thank you for sticking around. I've got 10 more minutes. So what I have here is a honey and apple cider vinegar. And so I've got one more day of this processing today, end of our 6 days, and yeah, I've got lots of realizing how much work I've got to do, and how much that I've been really fucking with myself. I've been fucking with my own. This is one thing actually that came up, was the authority. There is this innate authority that we often give to other people, and it's so subtle. It's so subtle. It's like by labeling someone. If we put a label on someone and point our finger at them and say, hey, they're this, we're actually giving our power away to them. It's so deep. It's so damn deep. And I can't it's really tough to fathom, because I find myself wanting to do it constantly. Labeling a person when I see them in the street, labeling a person when I see them on social media, Instagram, throwing my own projection and label at them. It actually dehumanizes them. And it's such a wild concept. For example, if I label you as smart, that dehumanizes you. If you label me as, I don't know, say, hey, this guy's great. You know, this guy's great on YouTube. He talks and, let's say, how can we say it? He's really articulate. If you were to say he's really articulate, that would be labeling me. That would be labeling me as, and putting me in a box as someone who is articulate. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily a good thing. It simply is a projection of something that's going on inside of you. Because if you see the certain thing within me and you point it out, any guesses as to what you're disowning, or maybe you're claiming for yourself. Quite often we put these projections on people. We will hate someone that is doing better than us, because we're actually rejecting our own success. We can project skill at someone because we're rejecting our own skill. Maybe recognize more skill because you have skill. This is also okay. Often there'll be a comparison though. And the comparison will be like, oh, this person's better than I am at this. And it's like, cool. What are you going to learn from that? Because this superiority thing doesn't really help anything. And looking at what we're here for on this earth is to, as I can see, is to learn as much as possible about ourselves, to deepen into ourselves as much as possible, to find out what our real nature is, to really embrace those dark sides of ourselves, the light sides too. To embrace the malevolence and the benevolence and the good and the bad. The nurturer, the killer. The prey or the predator. Because for you to not embrace the fact that you are a predator, that you are a murderer, you could, and you have in your mind many, many, many times. And it's quite scary to look at. And until we own those things, they own us. And we become a slave to them. We start becoming a victim. Start feeling like we feel like prey. And our true nature isn't prey. I realize I can't really summarize much about this in this video because I'm not necessarily a teacher on the topic. However, I will be getting into more of this stuff in the coming weeks. In the short form videos, I will be setting aside some time to do specific videos and do them on specific topics. Oh man, I'm really excited for this journey. I'm really excited because there's going to be, maybe I'll do some accents. That could be fun. I'll do some stuff around the voice, some accents. My big thing is around the voice. So I'll be covering lots of topics around the voice and giving little insights, giving little tidbits, maybe sharing some songs, maybe sharing some, the light language stuff I was talking about. I've had a lot of channeling of songs that are like, kind of like Celtic, which have been really cool. And the way that they've been coming in pretty much without lyrics, which is really interesting too, because I've sung songs with lyrics for a long, long time, realizing that within the light language space, this is the channeled kind of thing. It's like tongues. And there's so many different sounds within it, so many different colors and textures and different flavors that can, take you to another place, really. So, in signing off, hope you guys have enjoyed day 26 of 30. And I'll be in for, what do we got? 4 more days. 4 more days of this challenge. I'll be wrapping it up and I'll be continuing with more. I'll be titling them differently. So if you've enjoyed it at all, if you've enjoyed this and followed along, subscribe, please, if you want to see more content. Feel free to like, comment. I'd love to hear where you're from, if there's anything that you are curious about or anything that you've gained from this. This has been a very relaxed video. This is my most relaxed video I've done, which is cool. It feels good to just settle into this and not pretend to be any more than where I'm at. So, yeah, have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.